I had the opportunity to sit down with some incredible filmmakers behind this year's selections of Dances with Films. It was truly inspiring to hear their stories, and I really think you're going to like what they have to say. Check it out.
Hi, I'm Kody Leibowitz. I am one of the co-directors of Meandering Scars.
And I'm Allison Norlian, and I am one of the other co-director, co-creator of Meandering Scars.
There's nothing like Kilimanjaro. So much emotion riding on this quest.
I just have a feeling that after this whole adventure, that there's not going to be any more suicidal thoughts.
Where were you at when we first met, mentally and emotionally, with your scars?
I was thinking about my friends that aren't here anymore and the ones that are still struggling.
Claudia, I can't tell you enough how much she is the reason I'm doing this.
I'm living in a world that's not built for me.
It's time to deep breaths. You do them slow and controlled.
Almost there.
I didn't know what to say. I was like, well, don't kill yourself. I didn't know what to say.
I can't be here anymore. I have to leave.
Oh, I'm making it to the top. I'm not going through this for nothing.
So can you tell us a little bit about your movie?
Yeah, of course.
Sure, do you want to start? You want me to?
You started.
I'll let you start, because I started last time.
Great. So Meandering Scars is a feature documentary about a wheelchair athlete's pursuit to climb Mount Kilimanjaro to raise awareness about suicide within the disability community, not just afflicting her, but afflicting the disability community at large.
Yeah, I mean, the documentary, like Kody said, is about this wheelchair athlete, Erica Bogan. She was paralyzed in a domestic violence incident in her 20s. When we met her, she was in her 40s, or maybe late 30s, and she turned 40 during the time we were together. We were creating the film. But the documentary is really a look into what it's like to be disabled in America, what causes people with disabilities to experience suicidal ideation. The Kilimanjaro climb is sort of the through line, the MacGuffin, if you will, of the documentary, but we're really kind of investigating and looking into these sort of, I guess, harder topics of why people with disabilities experience heightened rates of suicide and mental health struggles. One of the kind of you'll see through in our movie, we have a researcher who kind of we have her kind of appearing throughout the documentary she can kind of explain why Erica is experiencing the stuff she's experiencing. She is the only researcher in the entire country who focuses at the intersection of suicide and disability. So it's just like a very underfunded, under-researched topic, and we wanted to shed light on that reality.
I think that's wonderful. So, of course, as you're discussing this and in the film itself, there are many different layers of, I guess, hardships and grief. What inspired you to create this now?
Really, it's, years in the making and almost decades and centuries in the making of disability rights coming to this moment, right? We look at it from a disability rights perspective in the 60s and 70s with Judy Nguyen and the like of just dozens and hundreds of disability activists fighting for Section 504 and doing sit-ins, and the largest sit-in in this country's history to the ADA. And then we see it over the last, 10, 15 years, just this decline in disability rights and just a declining in mental health rights throughout COVID. That's afflicting many people, not just within the disability community, but just all of us as Americans, right? And so for us, it's really trying to take this holistic approach to look at, where are we at as a society when it comes to disability justice, when it comes to just rights in America, and what is affecting all of us and what is affecting our disabled brethren when it comes to mental health, and why is that? And so we sort of examine through one person the systemic and structural problems of ableism in America. Allison can talk about this more, but there's one aspect where Erica's talking about just going to the grocery store. It's a normal thing for all of us, right? And she's going to the grocery store and someone came up to her and said, I'm so proud of you for getting up today. And that sort of weighs on you as just a person. Like, what do you mean? I'm just going to the damn grocery store like anyone else. Like, it's not a big thing, but it's just like those little comments that continuously pop up on a day-to-day life. Like, Erica can be in a good place mentally, but it's society and the systems around us that really plague her own mental health, and not just hers, but the disability community at large.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I think with Erica, a lot of people sort of assume that someone with a disability might have mental health struggles because they're disabled. But the reality is most people with disabilities, they're just like you and me. They're living their everyday life, and the disability itself is not what is causing the mental health struggles. It is the inaccessibility of society. It is the financial struggles because of the way our systems are set up, like Kody just explained. And so you're kind of seeing that reality with Erica. And like I said earlier, with Lauren Chasm, who's our researcher, and she's disabled herself too, which is why she has dedicated her life to trying to understand why people with disabilities experience heightened rates of suicide and getting it out into the world. And so, when Kody and I when we first met Erica and we heard about her journey and how she wanted to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, of course, hearing that anyone wants to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, it's like, wow, it's a feat.
Not many people
are able to do it. And so we were already just enamored. We're like, wow, that's amazing, Erica. But then when we heard, hey, like, I've experienced suicidal ideation. I've had friends die by suicide, both who are disabled, mentally ill. And I want to do this because I want to raise awareness about this problem that plagues our community and that nobody talks about. And so that is really what sold Kody and me. We were just like, this is amazing already that you want to do this, but you want to do this for with a purpose and for this very important cause. And so I'm a disability advocate. My sister is profoundly disabled, and that's kind of what led me into we're former journalists, actually. We're journalists turned filmmakers. And so it led me into journalism, and now it's translated over into filmmaking for me as well.
Okay, that's beautiful. Actually, that kind of leads me into while you were working on this and doing the research and interviewing and following through, what did you find was the hardest part for you?
You want to start?
I want to think about it first.
Okay.
Putting you on the spot first.
No pressure. No pressure.
Surprise! It was nothing. No, obviously, like throughout the whole process, it's really difficult because we're coming in as journalists. We're coming in. I have an investigative and a political background in journalism. Allison is a Jill of all trades. She did everything from anchoring to investigative to general assignment, whatever was asked of her. And so we're trying to figure out how to film. And so some of those early days where we're both learning our style are more difficult, right? So that's always tough. Training to climb is really difficult, right? Allison and I both had to put in a year and a half worth of physical work to get into the best shapes possible. I was running around in the mountain with 40 pounds of equipment on my back and 20 pounds of camera gear for 5 days to be able to film. And while you're just trying to stay out of the way as best as possible and just show the reality of what it's like to climb in a wheelchair, climb out of your wheelchair, climb with the help of friends and without the help of friends, and climb with porters and guides who know that mountain, and try to find as many stories as possible. Probably for me post-production was probably the most difficult. Allison had wrote a script during that time, a narrative script. I had never written a script at that point. And so for me, probably the most difficult were those first couple of days that we were writing, and we didn't get anything out. We didn't write a single word on paper. And I know that Allison was super frustrated with it. I was starting to get frustrated, but I told her, I'm like, hey, look, we've gotten a lot done so far. Day 4, we're going to start writing. And we did. We wrote a whole scene at that point, and then it was all uphill from there in a good sense. So it was just, it's a learning curve for a little bit of everything, right? For us from a different perspective to look at this.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything he said. Like I said, we're journalists turned filmmakers, and this is our first feature-length documentary. So we really, I think the journalism background, served its purpose because we know how to research, we know how to, put in the work in order to figure out sort of like what to do. And so we put in the work to try to understand. But I mean, a lot of the times we really were kind of flying by the seams of our pants, just like figuring it out as we went. But the journalism really did help us understand. I mean, we're filmmakers in a way. We just now are filmmakers on a much bigger scale. But we had other filmmakers come to Kilimanjaro with us, but really especially the production process has been just Kody and me. So it's just been like us two shooting everything, us two logging everything. We don't have like a big documentary team, so we're like true indie filmmakers. And so like ensuring that we got everything we needed and it looked beautiful. It's just making sure that all the parts were there. And it was a process, and it was a difficult process, and we only had each other really to lean on. And of course, like documentaries do, they shift. So when we set out to do this documentary, we had an idea of what it was going to look like. And during filming, specifically on the mountain, which I'm not going to say what happens because you should see the film, but something happens that really shifts the narrative, and that was, a little bit difficult to deal with because we had in our minds what this was going to look like. We had planned for it, and then all of a sudden it was uprooted. So, learning how to really sort of shift on the go as a filmmaker, and that was definitely something that we had to deal with, and it was a little bit difficult at times.
Difficult, but I'm sure it was gratifying when you were able to adapt and pivot when you needed to. Of course.
And honestly, it ended up being a great pivot. Yeah, so it's like it's something. It's an addition to the film that I think people, the audience that watches, is going to enjoy. So.
Yeah, and I think just to add on to that, a little bit of a different direction. I think for us, what was difficult too was COVID, right? Because you're dealing with a real world pandemic into an epidemic endemic, that was really. Afflicting a lot of folks worldwide, and we wanted to go climb a mountain, which is so minuscule for a problem that's ongoing, and a health scare and a health issue that's ongoing. And so we had to pause. We had to pause filming in 2021, and our thought was, okay, we're gonna go do this. We're gonna go film. We're gonna have 2 years maybe with production for about 8 to 10 months, and then the rest of it will be post, and we're gonna have a film that comes out in the end of 22, beginning of 2023. That's not the case. We're in 2025 now. So we had to really adjust, and we started thinking, and Allison and I had like a call in the summer of 21, and we were just like, what if we filmed after the climb? Because we wanted to understand where Erica's mindset is going to be, whether she makes it to the top of that mountain or she doesn't make it to the top of that mountain. Does she want to continue this advocacy? Does she want to continue to be an activist in her own right through social media, through her own coaching and help folks? Or does she want to retire and return or give the baton to someone else to pick up where she was when it came to the intersectionality of disability rights and mental health? And so we had to go to Erica and went to Erica and we're like, hey, we think we should do this, and here's the reasons why. And just be upfront with her as to why we wanted to do this. And she's like, yes, because of her own scars, because of her own mental health, her days are structured as her highs are high, her lows are really low.
Well, it's also what happens to her mental health after the climb, because the whole journey is looking at this woman who struggles with mental health issues and if she completes the climb, it's potentially an extreme high. So it's like, does that continue? But like with mental health, it's a journey. It's learning to live with some of the struggles.
It's not linear.
It's not over. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, what happens next? Whether she completes the climb or not, how does that impact her mental health going forward?
Right. Life meanders in a lot of ways. I mean, it's frustrating, it's annoying, it's beautiful, but it's like a meander around a mountain. You're going like this, and sometimes there's a straight line, sometimes it curves and it winds, and you dip a little bit, and then you shoot back up, and then you can make it to the mountaintop, and you can get there. And so it's just, your mental health is a lot like that in that sense, and it just made sense to sort of go in that direction and talk about it.
I mean, it's a beautiful analogy, her literally climbing a mountain and then just kind of discussing all of that, and I think that's great. You guys kind of touched on some of the questions I was going to ask you anyway, but
we talked a lot. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, it's
Former
great.
journalist, we understand where it's going.
No, I like it. Continue. So being at Dances with Films, how has that journey been for you with this film?
I'll let you start.
Okay. It's been incredible. We're world premiering, and we couldn't have asked for a better festival.
Yeah.
And I'm not just saying that. Like, it honestly makes me emotional thinking about us being part of this festival. It's such a great indie festival. We have met so many incredible creatives. Jackie has been unbelievable in everything from, telling, like, I just remember the email we got from her when she watched our film. It was just an expression of love and and excitement, and I don't know, just having, of course we love our film, but having that support from somebody and the festival, like this incredible sort of, there's just a lot of festivals out there, and you just know that this festival watches all the films and truly wants to celebrate the films they bring on. And so that celebration, I mean, it just means everything to us. And the experience has been great so far, and we are world premiering on the 28th at 10:30 in the morning. And so we just cannot, hope everyone comes and we fill up the room.
Yeah. We're fortunate. I mean, it's just, we've gotten lucky throughout this process because we're, again, former local journalists who have no connection really to the film industry. And we just fell into this and got lucky. And I think for us, we almost felt like it would be a weight lifted off of our shoulders to finally get into a festival, and premiere. I didn't feel like that though once we got the email and you sent it over with just all these exclamation points, and I was just like, I was like, oh my God, is it it? Is it it? And I start scrolling, and I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. And you feel elated. You feel elated and accepted, and then you get to meet so many great filmmakers at the beginning of their careers too, and get to watch their films, and you're like, damn, I'm a part of that. That's so cool.
So cool.
You should. I'm sure you are proud of yourselves, and you said that you're lucky, but it's really kind of a blend of a lot of hard work, a lot of years that you guys put into this, and just a little bit of luck. But mostly it's you, and so
I don't know. I agree with that, but also I think a lot of it is luck though to get to that point, because we all put in so much work.
Yeah.
I mean, Erica put in her entire life into trying to do this goal, whether someone was going to film it or not. That wasn't her approach to it. She was just going to go and however she can advocate, whether it's just photos, whether it's social media, TikTok, Instagram, whatever have you, she was going to do it. And we just happen to be along and in the right spot. I mean, it's a lot of, just being in the right spot, and a lot of luck, a lot of just, I don't know, fortune or whatever have you to get to that point. The hard work is there, though.
Someone said something to me yesterday that I really didn't think of, though.
Okay.
When I was talking to, actually, Colin, Diminishing
cool.
Returns,
Yeah.
another filmmaker whose film is going to be premiering here, I think, Monday.
Yeah.
Great filmmaker. Anyway, we were chatting, and he was asking me how we found this story, and so I was telling him, I don't know if I don't know if I shared it yet, but we found the story because Kody and I created our company. We didn't know what our first documentary was going to be, but we decided we're going to create a series that we're going to post on our social media and online, so we can show people what we're all about, the kinds of stories we want to tell and how we tell them that would hopefully lead to a documentary in some way. We didn't know how. So we put in the work. We started pre-interviewing for this series, and we met, and because I'm a disability advocate, I was introduced to all these various Paralympians and people with disabilities making an impact in the CrossFit industry and Spartan and obstacle course racing. That's how we met Erica. And at the very end of our pre-interview, she was like, I'm going to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. And I was like, way to bury the lead. Like, if you had said this in the beginning, I would have been like, okay, that's it, you know? So anyway, that's...
We're not doing the interview anymore.
No more interview. So that's what led to the documentary. But I was telling Colin the story, and he was like, wow, but he was like, that's amazing, though, because you didn't just find it. Like, you guys put in the work.
Yeah.
And then that's how you found it. And it just hit me, and I'm like, you're right. Like, we didn't know what was going to come out of that series that we were creating, but we just wanted to do the work so we could show people, and so we could advocate for people with disabilities, so we could tell these stories. And that's how we found our interview, our eventual subject and story. So anyway, I say all that to say, like, I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I'll just say then, you both have convinced me. I was wrong.
You should be proud of yourself. Yeah. You worked really hard. Okay, so I have two more questions. One is, from this point on, are you planning to do any narratives, or are you continuing down the documentary path, like a fiction narrative?
Yeah.
I think it's a combination of both. When we first created Birdmine, our company, the focus was documentary, but throughout the process, so I live in LA and my husband's a screenwriter, and I'm surrounded by screenwriters, and I was, and as a writer, a journalist, I wanted to learn the craft, and so my husband taught me like the ins and the outs of what to do, because I went to journalism school. I knew nothing about like specifically the technical aspect of screenwriting, and I ended up writing a short film that actually we world premiered at last year, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And we screened at the Austin Film Festival. And so this was our beginning of dabbling into narrative film. So we have a short film that now has educational distribution, which is amazing.
Oh, amazing.
So so that I say all that to say that we're doing both. I do think documentary, after doing both, I love documentary.
Yeah.
I'm a former journalist. That is really what fills my soul. It's real. But I did enjoy the aspect of being on set and creating a narrative film. So I think we'll do both.
Yeah.
I agree. And you're working on several scripts right now. I'm working on a script with a close friend of mine as well. And yeah, I think it is a little bit of both, but there's just this appeal of just being a fly on the wall and telling someone else's story. From the struggles to the triumphs and everything in between, that just really appeals to us as journalists and just in our own advocacy.
Yeah, and I think that's wonderful too, because you're kind of showcasing humanity in its real form, in a raw form, and not just kind of fabricated, right?
Exactly.
So to wrap things up, my question is, how do I word this? What is your opinion on success when it comes to your movie? How has it been for you in that realm?
Do you want to start us off? I'll finish us? Do you want to finish off?
I'll finish.
Okay. Success would be getting this in front of, how many billions of people are in this world now? 8 billion almost?
A lot.
I think success for us, it goes back to what we both learned in journalism, and it's been really our moniker within our own company, is that if someone learns something new, one person learns something new from the stories that we tell, it either changes their mind when it comes to a particular topic, it gives them a better understanding of their own community, the world around them, it fires them up to start advocating for change, whether that be at the city, local, county, state, or federal level, or it helps their own life, and when we talk about Meandering Scars, their own life mentally, that they can finally relate to someone. If we can help just one person, we did our jobs and we did it damn well. And I think that's the big thing out of this. And if that does happen, whether it is Erica, whether it is just a random audience member this weekend, or if we are fortunate enough to get distribution and take this to theaters, which is what we want, on one random audience member over that several week stretch of us screening this film, their mind has changed, they learned something new, they're advocating one of those things, then we did our job and we did it damn well.
Agree with everything he said. And I think as someone who, I grew up in disability culture. My sister, like I said earlier, is developmentally disabled. My grandmother had MS and used a wheelchair full time. So I lived within this culture where disability was normal. It was, it was the normal. And I've sort of made it my mission because of my experience. Like because of the inaccessibility of society, it doesn't just affect the person with the disability, it affects the entire family and their whole community. And so I lived that. And so that's why I became an advocate for people with disabilities, because I wanted to specifically change the way the world views disability, improve accessibility. And so I hope that our film, along with everything Kody said, changes the way the world views disability. And I hope that people with disabilities feel seen. I think that growing up, I never felt seen as the sister of someone with a disability, and that's why I wanted to create films and also as a journalist, tell people with disabilities stories, because I wanted them to feel seen. It's an amazing feeling when somebody sees you, and that's really something that's very important to me for our films.
Well, that was beautiful, and I can almost guarantee you've affected at least one person. There's many people who have seen it. But thank you so much, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your journey for this. I'm really excited to see where this goes, and to see future projects as well.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.